You know, the more I play, the further I get on into his story, into the character, I'm really, and usually it comes about with interviews that I get really interested in his his makeup and his character. You know, at the beginning, I thought he was acting out of a noble intention, love to save his wife. She had Alzheimer's, and he enlisted the help of his best friend Tim Fanning, and that's when it all went horribly wrong. Um, and then you think about it again, and you know he was asked by Elizabeth just to stay and be with him, be with her, and he says, "No, I'll fix this." So that says a lot about his character. Is it ego? Is it that he just can't let it alone? And then he even after he brings Fanning back to Project Noah, he has the opportunity at any given point to either kill Fanning, as Fanning asked, or to leave Project Noah and to say, you know, this is what you're doing is morally wrong. It's illegal. I'll go to the press, but he keeps on. He stays at Noah, and he keeps on trying to fix it, trying to find that cure. It's like he's being tempted by the devil, saying just keep coming one step further. So I found that really interesting as a character, that he doesn't really stand up. He keeps on thinks that the end will justify the means, and at the same time he must be riddled with guilt and remorse because I'm sure he's intelligent. He plays the what if game. What if I didn't go to Bolivia? What if this, you know, he's the cause of it all? So it's a really fascinating character. I'm really interested to see what they do with him, because in the book, you know, you don't really get that much about him, you know.
I was really going to ask you, because it's based off of a book.
Right.
So how different is the book from the series?
So they've taken, yes, it is different. You know, you obviously know they've made some characters, some male characters, female characters. You know, they've changed. Amy was a young white girl. They've made Sanaya, but Sanaya is absolutely phenomenal. So she's just, wait till you see 106. It's just, she's brilliant in that. She's brilliant all the way through. But so they've taken some liberties. For example, they've made my wife. She was dying of cancer in the book. Now she's got Alzheimer's. But they've kind of enriched it for the characters that are there on screen. My character certainly is enriched. I think that whole storyline with Fanning and Elizabeth is certainly really cool. Yeah, I think, and Justin Cronin, I've said this before, Justin Cronin said every time someone reads the book, they make their own movie in their head. So each time somebody, so I think it's really valid. I think they've really, with the flashbacks, they've really enriched the whole show.
I was reading about yourself. Most of the time, you choose the character you're gonna do in it because most of the time it's thrillers.
Yeah. No, you know, I don't know how this works. Look, listen, when I got lost, I didn't choose it. I just landed the role of Desmond. That was, you know, very fortuitous. When you join a show, you never know where it's going to end up and the legacy it's going to have. You take a leap of faith. You can make an educated guess, you know, but no, there's a whole bunch of other things that are involved, and that's a really interesting question as well. You know, how do these things come to people? How do people get what they get? You know, so that's kind of a fascinating thing. But yeah, this genre, I love it. I love sci-fi, so maybe I just put it out there that I love the genre of sci-fi and it comes to me. So I hope that works. Speak to the universe.
This past Monday's episode, your character was a big part of it with Fanning, and your working in the whole culmination. What's going to happen is starting to really take shape, especially with your wife in the show. We finally learned a lot more about her and what's going on. What was it? What have you seen in your character as we've gotten into episode 5? Now we're going into episode 6. What have you seen in the development, and how is it playing at that? How was it playing in at that stage?
So episode 5 and between 5 and 6 is a big shift in the show. A lot of tough choices have to be made by a lot of characters. And you know, it's a really good episode. I just watched it last night, and so to answer your question, there is a shift in my character, and you know, at the end of 105, you saw Elizabeth, and she was infected by the virus, and how Leah deals with that, how Fanning deals with that. It's you know, I don't want to give anything away, but it's just going to get more and more. You're going to learn more, and people are going to change. You know, they're gonna have to take sides. So it's yeah.
When you play that character, you don't have him thinking, you know, maybe it can be true in the time. Like a lot of people, they believe in vampires. A lot of people believe in different things, but because in sci-fi, it's always
Yeah.
a subject, you know, people want to talk about it and they don't believe what they really see on TV. And most of the time they say, well, this is a TV show.
Yeah. So, you know, I do believe that there are places like Project Noah. You know, throughout history, we've experimented on each other, and I'm sure it's still happening now. You know, if you go back to, you know, in the 1920s, the government experimented on soldiers. They gave them drugs. You know, it happened, and, you know, it's coming out. You know, people would say in the 60s it happened. They gave them drugs. So we don't know, and even now you can say that some of these diseases now could have been the results of some experiments that have gone wrong. So that is not. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I believe that that's real. With the vampires, who's to say that you know something, you know, some sort of virus would turn up where it would make people crazy? Maybe not vampires, but would you know, yearn for, I don't know, blood or. But yes, it would. It's gone to an extreme, sure, certainly with the vampires. But yes, but the core of the idea is not that far fetched.
Now you talked about the similarities between the book, or the differences between the book and the show as far as the characters. But as far as like the plot or any new revelations, are they going to change it up kind of like The Walking Dead does? They'll throw in a wrench in there?
I don't know. You know, we're only on season. We've only just like a quarter of the first book.
Okay.
So, no, I think at the heart they're sticking to the story. I mean, the book is so big, it's so epic that, you know, why would you? There's so many good. It's a great story. It's epic, and I think they're going to be true to that. So.
Are you still shooting?
No, we finished in December, and we shot in Atlanta. We finished in December, and yeah, I don't know where season 2 will be shot.
So do you see? Can you talk a bit about? I like the dynamic between your character and Dr. Fanning.
Yeah, Jamie McShane. Yeah,
Yeah, kind of
does
like
a great job.
the better angel and the worse angel, I guess. You know,
Right.
Debating, arguing, and can you talk a bit about creating that relationship with your fellow actor,
Jamie. Yeah, Jamie and I. You know, we're both, I would say, the senior members of the cast. So we spent a lot of time together in Atlanta, hanging out. We have a lot in common. We have children who are, you know, my children are a little bit older, but, you know, so we spent a lot of time having dinners and lunches and hanging out with each other and getting to know each other. So, and we really enjoy working off each other. You know, we'll talk about the scenes, or, you know, we rehearse by ourselves, and yeah, he's been great to work with. He's a terrific actor. You know, when you work with somebody as good as Jamie, you have to raise your game. So, you know, it's just been a treat to work with.
So on that note, did Liz tell you coming into this project, hey, we're gonna also tackle themes of the scientists playing God and the consequences that come with that?
I never really had a conversation with Liz.
Oh.
Liz Heldens. I never had a conversation with her or anyone, you know, for that matter, about the role or where it was going. I live in Hawaii. I know other actors have, but no, I got that quite early on, that, you know, it you know, playing the sort of messing with the sort of godlike scientists, but yeah, didn't really have a conversation.
So I was shocked to know you were half Latino.
Yes, my mother's Peruvian.
¿Y hablas español? Muy bien.
Un poquito.
Un poquito?
Sí.
Parece que lo hablas bien.
Ah, gracias.
You know, do you surprise people often, maybe in casting? You know, because we know casting in Hollywood, they tend to stereotype people.
Right. Yes.
Did you have that issue in the beginning?
Yeah, I think it's because my name is Henry Cusick. My mother's name is Esperanza Chavez. And, you know, when I say to people I'm Peruvian, they go, you don't look it, you know. And then I do that, and they go, sí, puedo ver tu nariz, sí. Ahora sí. You know, but by and large, you know, you introduce yourself with a name, people make an assumption. Henry Cusick, and also I speak English with this accent, so they go, there's no way he can be, you know. But it's, yeah, when I love, you know, speaking Spanish whenever I can, because I don't get a chance to practice. So, si quieres hablar español, vamos a hacer entonces.
¿Cuándo vas a hacer una película en español? ¿O quieres hacer una?
Sí, me encantaría. Yo iba a hacer algo en Perú, pero no sé si va a pasar. Íbamos a hacerlo este marzo, pero no en marzo, en junio, pero no sé si tenemos la plata. Ojalá.
Ojalá. Con este video van a salir la gente. Qué lindo.
Ojalá.
What's the
What was
project
said.
of you like a person for the next season?
I'm sorry, I missed that first.
Wait, what is for your next project and for the next season of the show?
My next project, so I've got a film coming out on video on demand called Chimera. That comes out March the 15th. Again, it's another scientist sort of playing God, trying to save his children. It's a really cool little low-budget indie, but first-time director Maurice Himes, and we shot in Boston. But it's a really interesting little film. After that, I'm looking forward to season 2. Should we get a season 2? I'm quietly confident we'll get one. And that's all I have at the moment.
So do you like playing characters who are like that Frankenstein monster type of thing? Because it's kind of like, and this is going off of my father watching the Frozen show, because I got him hooked. And he says, he equates your character kind of like the Frankenstein monster. He wants to
But
do
he is
good.
Dr. Franz, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to do
Yeah.
good, but something went wrong.
Yes, yeah. Yes, and that's very similar to the character in Chimera. I kind of feel that's pretty similar to most of my characters. I do tend to play that role quite a lot. And I don't know why. I guess I have the face. I don't know. But yes, do I enjoy them? I love them. I love being in that moral, that ethical dilemma of, that gray area. It is a lot of fun. Yeah.
And I mean, it would be great if there would be some cure for all diseases. I mean, the premise is like it's relatable. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking vampires, like you said. Some people believe it, some people don't.
Yeah.
But the relatable part of the show is that we wish somebody could find a cure for all sorts of diseases.
Yeah. Well, people are working on stuff. What I found interesting about that was the ego-based part of it. Of course, Fanning was interested in that. When I approached him with that. But I was surprised the more I thought about it, for Jonas Lear to be thinking, of course you must know if you're a scientist of your place in history. Had you discovered the cure, had you, he would have been set for life, And so, and that's what I mean about his intention was love, but there must have been in the back of his mind, I can cure all diseases. How cool, So he's not that innocent. In fact, there are no innocents except for Amy, I think, in the show. Everyone has, you can argue that everyone has, even Brad, he was doing something but asking no questions. A lot of people just refuse, put their head in the sand, but then at the end of this, very soon you'll see that people take sides and make decisions about which side they're on.
What do you think was the most challenging part at the show for you?
I enjoy a challenge, but I think, when I look back on it, probably trying to do the schedule was really challenging. We had the scripts were really big and our time frame was tight. For example, in the last episode, we were shooting episode 10 and episode 9 at the same time, pretty much in the same location. So we would shoot scene from episode 10, roll, shoot, action, and then episode 9, roll, shoot, action. And we were like crossing over and just the logistics of sound and all of that and getting people from one set to another. What episode I'm doing 9 now, and then I'm jumping to episode 6. We were jumping around. So that was pretty difficult. Personally, being the only one on set, who was non-American, speaking with an American accent, that for me was a personal challenge. Yeah.
And are you looking ahead to doing maybe different, like directing or writing your own projects?
Yes, I've directed a short film and I directed 2 episodes on The 100.
Oh, that's right.
So I love doing that. Yeah, I'm gonna just say it now. I'd love to direct The Passage. I just need to approach the right people and see how that goes. But for sure, I would love to. Yeah, I would love to direct an
Well, you got
episode.
the credit already. You did, the 100. So.
I did 2 episodes of The 100. Yeah. Yes. So I have directed, and just got to see if Jason and Liz, we'll
You
see.
were nominated for
Put it
the
out there.
Emmys Awards.
I was. That was for Lost. Yeah, that was back. I was a guest star, and that was for the first season, my first season, season 2. It was such a blur. I didn't even know really what that was all about. I was at home sweeping. I was back in England and cleaning the kitchen because my wife worked and I was a stay-at-home dad. And then I got the phone call, you've been nominated for an Emmy. And I was like, okay, well, that is, I didn't really know what that was. And nor did any, like my agent in England didn't know what that was. They knew what it was, but they were like, but it was very kind of like, whatever. And then I came out to LA for the ceremony. And yeah, it was big. It was a weird combination of being very nervous and very bored. It was like weird.
Is it okay if I ask you that one question? 'Cause
What's that?
I'm a huge fan, and this year's the 50th anniversary of Lost.
The 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2004 was the premiere. Could you talk a bit about looking back, how being part of that show, how that means to you, the significance of it?
Oh, it gave me my career for sure. Here in America, anyway. It changed my life. I moved out to Hawaii. I still live in Hawaii. Damon and Carl. It was like winning the lottery. It was a moment of like because anyone could have done that. Not you know what I mean. But it could have been anyone who did that role. I just got it, and Damon and Carlton, they changed my life completely. So I'm very grateful to that show. Yeah.
So you tend to gravitate towards apocalyptic, disaster type shows.
Well, it's weird. I don't gravitate to, as I said, Lost was offered to me, and I was like, okay. Again, the way I got this show was I was coming back from the UK, and I knew nothing about it, and I was just going to be a guest on one episode, possibly recurring. And then they said, would you like to join the show? So, I don't know how these things happen. As I said, they must be putting something out in the universe. This is what I want to do. So, I don't know.
Does it get depressing shooting all these, kind of situations where you're in a...
No, that's so much fun.
Yeah?
No, I love it. It's fun. I love doing all that. I love the high stakes, end of the world, end of the human race stuff. That's fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you describe the show in 3 words for fans?
I hate questions like this. Like, oh, come on, awesome, epic, thrilling. I mean, yeah, sure. How's that? Awesome, epic, and thrilling. But it is awesome. It says epic and thrilling.
Intrigue us to watch it.
Listen. Hey, I love the show. I think it's great. I think you should watch it. But I can give you more than 3 words why you should watch it. I think you should watch it because it's epic. It's a huge show that has so much potential, and there's so many different storylines that you could follow. It's a big ensemble cast, and like Lost or like any of this, you can latch into the character, your favorite, and follow that storyline. Say, I like, the Brad and Amy. That's the heartwarming part of the show. Then you have the Leah Fanning, Elizabeth storyline. But then you have the Babcock and Clark, that weird love story going on. So there's so many things, and then there's going to be. It gets richer there. We have to introduce characters because if it goes to the book, there's other people coming into the show. So it's huge. Yeah, it's massive. It's a lot of fun.
And one thing that I love about the show is the way it's shot.
Yeah,
It's like a movie.
yeah, absolutely.
The length of being able to tell a story.
Yeah, it is, and you're right. No one's mentioning that, and they should. Jason Ensler, who gave the show its look, has got a great eye. He's always taking photographs, and he's just got a great eye. But you're right, we shot most of it, in fact, all of it on prime lenses, so it has that narrow depth of field and things in and out of focus. But also the framing is very filmic. It's not just centered; everyone's slightly off. We had a great crew, a great lighting department. But you're absolutely right. The show looks beautiful. Yeah.
Most of the production they've been doing like that lately.
Yep.
For TV series.
Well, for cable, for sure. I think maybe that's why we were pushing up against it. But I think for network TV, I think we look more like a cable show than a network TV show, for sure. If you look at any, look at what's on before and after us, we're way more cable feel look to it.
So back into your roots. So you are from Peru. Your mom's from Peru.
Yeah.
Your dad is from
Scotland.
So what is the difference between Dave and 2 different sides of the world that the same person like you?
I don't know, because I grew up with me being me, and so I was born in Peru, moved to Trinidad in the West Indies until I was 15, and then moved to Scotland. So I guess the takeaway is that because I've had the, I've been very fortunate that I've traveled a lot. I very early on I got to see that we're all the same. I think it's a really good thing for people to experience other parts of the world, to see that we're all essentially the same. We all want the same things. So I think that was my big takeaway. Uh, the weird thing is I don't feel particularly Scottish, and I don't feel Peruvian. I don't feel anything. I don't know if any of you guys have that, because I'm sure a lot of you are mixed. So I don't feel loyal to anything. You know what I mean? I just feel kind of homeless. But Hawaii, I would say, is my home now. I feel more connected to Hawaii than I do Scotland or Peru. So.
What do you think is the fascination? I mean, now shows are taking kind of supernatural route, superhero, and here you have vampires, thank guys, not zombies, because we're kind of done with the zombie genre.
Right.
So what do you think of the way that TV is going, as far as, I mean, not cable, because cable, you have more dramas, but like network TVs, they're veering towards the supernatural. Even the streaming services have a lot of, today a lot of new superhero shows are coming out.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know. I haven't, like, what's coming up?
Doom Patrol and Umbrella Academy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
I haven't
people
really
like
caught.
the supernatural.
Yeah, I haven't really caught up on that. I don't know. At the heart of it, everybody just wants a relation. Drama is about relationships, conflict, and we want to see. It has to have a heartfelt. You have to be invested in characters, and that's ultimately, I think, that's what makes a good show. You could have all the rest of it, but it has to have. You have to be invested and care about the characters.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have. In our show in abundance. Especially with Amy and Brad. That's good. But what do I think about them? I haven't. I think with all the superhero films, Marvel and all this, I don't really have a strong opinion on. As long as I'm invested in the character, I care about someone, and that's really all.
Doesn't matter the genre.
Yeah, you can fit that in anything, right?
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself like a superhero fan?
I'm not a huge Marvel or DC fan. No, I'm not. Can I say that?
Of course.
Oh, no, I'll never work with them again.
You can pass.
I don't know. I just never. I was never really. Yeah. Because I want to see characters who care about each other. I want to see relationship, and I guess you have that, but usually in the Marvel and the superhero world, it's all about the effects and the fights and stuff, which leave me a little bit cold sometimes. So.
What kind of intrigued you to want to become an actor?
It's a good question. So I was 16 at school, and my father was pushing for me to be an engineer, and I watched an episode of Robin Hood, and it was Michael Praed playing Robin Hood, and I just thought, how did he get that job? Because that looks like fun, and that's what I want to do, because I really had no interest in further education. I couldn't be bothered. I really didn't want to open another book. And the idea of university was like, oh God, no, another 4 years of reading stuff. So really, that was it. That was the sort of seed. I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to run around and shoot bows and arrows and have fun. That was pretty much it.
That's awesome.
That's funny. But that's what most actors say, that become actors because they didn't want to go to school or they didn't want to study.
I didn't want, yeah.
a
But then,
profession
yeah.
that
But
their
then when I
parents
went
were
to drama school, then I got really interested in Shakespeare and poetry and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and I did enjoy it. But that was the first kernel of
Mhm.
the seed that was going. I want to do something that's fun. So, and it has been fun. It's been up and down. It's difficult. When you're not working. But by and large, the struggle is fun as well. Yeah, it's a fun career.